to start off, we gave them a backpack with clues and all the different keys in there for the different puzzles. So they would have to figure out which key they were going to use at which puzzle.
So then they open the closet doors and they find the board games.
Hi, welcome to the Hobby Hangout.
With Asu and Dave.
Yeah, so a new episode today, but we wanted to revisit our Easter treasure hunt, right?
Which I think went really good for the kids. For us, we took, I think, longer than ever, but
So
we were very ambitious.
I guess the prep side? Start with that side of it?
Don't interrupt me then.
I can interrupt.
Yes.
Yes, all right. So as you were saying, we left it to the last minute?
Well, no. I think we need to give some context because not everyone might have watched the other episode, right?
True. All right, start with the context. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So the context was, correct me if I'm wrong.
I will.
Yes. Instead of doing a Easter egg hunt with chocolate eggs, what we've done in the past is purchase some board games, hide them as a treasure hunt, and then do activities with a map and clues and ciphers and things like that to engage the kids and make them work for their prize at the end. But overall, it eliminates that sort of chocolate sugar-fueled competition and focuses more on, what are the clues and putting the puzzles together to get to the next step and working together towards getting that end prize.
Mm-hmm. And as we have also mentioned, they love questing.
Yes, they love questing.
They do mini quests here and there. And we wanted to, I think in the past years, we have focused on more like a map kind of thing, right? Where there's ciphers, but it's still very much like a map.
Yeah.
Whereas in this year, we actually did it more leveraging the quests that they like to do.
Yep.
So, prep time.
And when we say quests, it's almost like mini LARPing, I guess, like role playing in action, live action role playing, where we kind of put together a story. They sometimes gear up and things like that.
But there's always a fight. There's always a battle. There's gotta be a battle all the time.
Yes. So sorry, go ahead.
Well, now I forgot.
All right. So then, as we
the prep time.
Yes, the prep time. So we vastly underestimated the prep time required.
I think because this year we wanted to do 2 sets of clues, one for each kid, and just, they're, even though they have always had the same gap in between them, I think that the development that they are at is very different. And so we needed to adjust it to be age appropriate depending on what they could handle, right?
Because they have 5-year age difference.
But even then, I think that just the stage that they're in, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to have something more similar between them, right?
Yeah.
So we were we knew that we needed to prepare.
Yes.
And we had already been talking about it for weeks. And we still didn't do it until the night before, at 10 at night.
Yes, because we got sidetracked doing some other work, and then we're like, okay, it's 10 o'clock, we better start.
Yeah.
So we dived into the puzzles. So first, we developed the plan, right?
Okay, you did a plan that I did not agree to do because...
You got a plan first.
No. We're very different. For me, I'm results oriented. The plan doesn't...
You still got to have a plan.
The plan is just... Yeah, I know, but I just do it in my head. And it's like abstract, and then that's it.
That doesn't work when it's more than one person.
No. You spend like a whole hour just writing down a plan.
It wasn't
an hour. It was an hour.
But anyway. That was the only way we could properly divide the work.
No, that's the only way that you could do it.
No.
I could have done it. Anyway, so what you did was to write down every single, I guess, station, right? Or the location where they were going to find each of the clues.
Yeah, so first we decided.
Yeah, you walk through it because I didn't agree to that plan.
So the first step was, okay, how many puzzles would we have to create? right? Because if we just started diving in, we probably would have stopped after 3 or 4 with how long it was taking, right? So
No.
initially we set out how many puzzles we were going to create. So we knew that there was going to be 8 steps before they got to the treasure. And then after those 8 steps, the next item was, okay, where are we going to send them and where are these clues going to occur?
And things to consider with those locations where that they were not like kind of like close to each other, but then that also that they wouldn't come across one of the clues by accident in
Correct, yeah.
looking for another clue.
And then after we had those stations, we kind of built the story around it, right? Once we finalized that story, that's where it was, okay, pick your steps along that story and create your own puzzle or cipher or challenge at that stage. And that was the planning portion, and then the execution.
That was the 1 hour that didn't need to happen.
Oh, it had to happen.
It could have been a 15-minute conversation, but okay.
No, absolutely not.
It could have been.
Let's talk about your first puzzle. The amount of time invested in that. See, if we hadn't had a plan, you would have invested all that time in there and then been like, okay, we're not doing anything else.
Okay, so I found this cipher. I can't remember what it's called, but it was something with like a V. And you know what? I'm gonna blame AI actually. Because I asked for some ciphers, it gave me some, and I was like, oh, this one looks interesting. And then it gave me an example, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to solve this to figure this out so that I can write my own message, right? And it provided me even with the wheel. So the way that it works is if you have played, one of those exit games where they come with like a wheel, and there's like 2 discs where...
Usually there's 3 discs.
Well, no, in this particular one, it was 2 discs. And so basically it was a way to offset the letters so that you can find to which letter of the alphabet the new letter corresponds based on the cipher. So anyway, so there were 2 discs, right? And I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I started working on it. I didn't print it, of course. I started just doing it myself. Yeah. And then once I was ready to start putting in the letters.
You were even using a protractor, right?
So first of all, I was like, okay, I got to divide this into 26. I don't know how. I ended up with 28. I think it was the decimal points. So anyway, I ended up with 28, and I just made up an exclamation mark and a question mark just to fill it up. And then I go back to the AI results from ChatGPT, and then it turns out that there was one letter that doesn't actually exist. And then there were some letters that were repeated. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't even 26 spaces. Yeah. I don't know what happened. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna write it down. So anyway, all of this work, right? And I was like, I think the other kid is gonna like this. So I started working on the other one as well. And once I put them together, like I put the pin thing to hold it, and I was like, okay, how is this gonna work? And I'm like, okay, like A is always going to be aligned to A. If I shift it, then like, what's the point of this, right?
You didn't need it to be able to rotate, right?
Well, yeah, like what was the point of rotating it, right? Like you could have just written it down and it would have been easier. Yeah. So then I was like, how am I gonna change this now? Like, what is I just spent half an hour building these discs, and what am I gonna do with it? Because the idea was for the kids to have fun rotating it, right? Yeah. So then what I ended up doing was that I added a cipher, I guess, I don't know how to call it, where the name of my son was the key. So then basically what happened is that I had my phrase, that was the actual riddle that you had to solve. Mm-hmm. And then I started writing down my son's name, like over and over, just repeatedly. And so then what happened is that on the first letter, I will take, the A will be the first letter of our son's name. So I will align the A to the first letter of my son's name, which is a D, right? Once I aligned it, let's say that the first letter of my riddle word was T. So I will go and look for the T and see what letter it aligned to. Then let's say that the next letter was H to form the word the. So then at that point, is the second letter of my son's name, which is the E. So then I will align A,
It's our son's name, by the way.
my son's name. So I will align the A with the E.
You
then
lost me already on what you were trying to accomplish. Is this why it was so hard for,
Well, yeah,
for our
she
daughter to
took-
solve this?
She took like half an hour to solve it. And then once she was solving it, I realized that I was, because originally the alphabet letter was on the bigger disc. And then at some point I switched it to the smaller disc. And then I think that I also made a mistake because I gave her some clues so that she could get an idea of how to solve it. And I made a mistake. And I completely forgot what the phrase was. So when she was solving it and asking for help, I was like, I don't know how to do this. But that was fun. They liked the discs. It was hard, but they liked it.
So I think one thing that did come up with doing it, again, last minute, is obviously the mistakes we did.
Yeah.
So like on mine, I did a cipher with math equations, giving the answer matching to a corresponding letter, depending on the value. And this was going to be the first puzzle that they were going to get on the quest. And as soon as they opened it up, my daughter started and she's like, this number doesn't exist on the key. I was like, what do you mean? I got the very first one wrong. And she's like, there's no number that matches it. And I was off, I think, by 1 or 2 numbers. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's that one right there. And so her comment was like, oh, so the math equations are just going to give you a close enough approximation. And then I got to figure out which letter it is. So I was like, no, just match the numbers. So, yes, when you leave it to the last minute, it's definitely prone to errors.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure that you had to redo it while you were writing it down, because I'm pretty sure that you made a mistake while writing it down. The first time around.
I think so.
Yeah, the first time around, and then you had to do it again.
Oh, yeah, when I started, I had it, there just wasn't enough space for all the letters. So I had to start over again and rotate the paper, but yeah. Yeah, definitely prone to errors on the last minute stuff.
Yeah, and so we wanted to get everything done within 2 hours, and it took us 4 hours. We went to sleep. We went to sleep at 2.
No, it was like 1:30.
I mean, I didn't lie down until 2.
Yeah, but like the prep was maybe 3 hours.
Well, and then the next day we still had to hide the clues, right? But so anyway, so what else did we do? So we created the ciphers. We had to figure out where exactly we're going to hide them and plan, because some of them were going to be in plain sight. So we had to make sure that while the kids were with me, then you will go and put the next stuff, right? Where it was meant to be, rather than them accidentally, finding them, right?
So the ciphers that we did, and to start off, we gave them a backpack with clues and all the different keys in there for the different puzzles. So they would have to figure out which key they were going to use at which puzzle. So the first one was, I guess, I'm not sure what it's called, but essentially just a random sequence of numbers, and each number equates to a letter of the alphabet. So I did that. Our son, who's younger.
My son?
Yeah. So his key was simply 1 to 26 with the alphabet. And then for our daughter, I did random numbers from 1 to, I think, between 1 and 400 for all the 26 letters. So they were just random numbers. There's no sequence to them. And then for our son, I gave him, simple addition and a couple of subtraction questions. And for our daughter, I did a combination of addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. And her phrase was longer, so I knew it was going to take her longer than our son.
Yeah.
That way she wasn't, because I know what happens is she'll look at his and like, oh, and she starts answering his, right? So by making hers more challenging, she had to focus on her, and it allowed our son to work independently on solving his. So he asked for help from our daughter for the first one, and then once he understood what he was doing, he was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
He dived in, right? Once they both figured out theirs, they had to look at them. They were both riddles, and they only gave them half of the answer. So once they put both of their answers together from the riddles, they knew that their next step was to come to the basement, I believe.
And I
Yes,
think,
yeah.
it was the basement. And all of their clues, like every single, I guess, station where they got clues, it was designed in a way that they had to put them together, otherwise they wouldn't
Yes,
be able
yeah.
to get to the next one.
And actually, I forgot. So even to kick off the quest, I decided to put on a little robe
Oh,
that we
yeah.
had and a staff, and I did the voice of Doctor
Tushin suffer? No.
Doofenshmirtz or something like that from Phineas and Ferb, if anyone knows that show. So I put in that voice and introduced the quest and put them on a quest to find the orbs of rubrics. Playing on, we haven't just seen the Minecraft movie where they were calling the cubes orbs, like the orb of power or whatever it was, but it was obviously a cube. So I was getting them to find 2 Rubik's cubes that we had hidden and bring them to me. And I was just referring to them as orbs of cube. So yeah, the next puzzle led into the basement. And what I did here in the basement was actually set up full gaming tables, one with sort of a cityscape with cars and buildings and a bunch of figures all over the city, and then a fantasy-based table with a bunch of terrain and a few armies here as well. So when they saw that, they were both like, "Oh, this looks so cool! It's so amazing!" And I had put one letter for each of them, so they knew which table was theirs. And amongst all the terrain and everything, I had drawn up 2 puzzles for them, and then cut them up into little pieces, and hidden them on the table, like underneath pieces of terrain, underneath the hills and things like that, underneath the buildings. So yeah, they both caught on very quickly that they had to search for their pieces. So they moved through the tables, collected all their pieces, and then started putting their puzzles together.
You did images though, right?
Yes, yeah. I just drew a bunch of images.
Did they have trouble identifying where they were supposed to go?
No. So our son had washing and drying, the washer and the dryer machine
Right.
as the pictures, and the Rubik's cubes inside of them. So he was able to put it together fairly quickly. Our daughter was, again, a little bit more abstract, so I gave her like pieces of clothing, laundry detergent bottle, water, wind. So she was putting it together, and she was just saying, "What is this? This is just random stuff." But then once she saw our sons and they put it together, she's like, "Oh, it's the laundry machine." So they went into the laundry room, and of course they didn't see anything at first until I heard them talking about, "Oh, maybe we got to open it." So I heard them open it. They both found each of their Rubik's cubes and they brought them to me, and that's when I sent them on their next quest,
Which was the gym.
over to you to the gym.
To train. And so once we were there, I grabbed.
Wait a second. No,
What?
there was a puzzle. That's right. I didn't tell them to go to the gym right away. I gave them clues, their next set of clues, which was a Pigpen cipher. So if anyone's not familiar with Pigpen is kind of like the tic-tac-toe matrix sort of thing with letter in each, and then tic-tac-toe again with dots and letters. But essentially you have the full 26 letters in the alphabet, and then you're essentially just making shapes. So like squares, arrows with dots and things like that. So there's a shape for each letter of the alphabet. So when they solved that one, that's where they had to put together the clues and figure out, oh, we're talking about our gym in the garage, right? So then they went off to you.
Yeah, and I just, like I told them that I heard that they were ready to head into battle, and so that they needed to get ready for it. And so I just did some like random exercises like squats and push-ups, and they put on the gloves and punched the bag a little bit.
Were they enjoying it?
Yeah, they were having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, that's when I gave them the cipher that was with the discs. And so with my son, because obviously the mistake was the same with both of them, right? So what I ended up doing with him to make it a little bit easier was that
With our son.
my son is mine. With our son.
Now say, my precious.
My precious. My precious. So what I did for him was that I colored in. So I picked 3 different colors, where the one color was a combination of like the 2 discs where they would align, and then another color for another one. And then remember, because I ended up picking 3 colors, but then the first time that I did it, I forgot about the one color, and so I ended up having 2 times the same color, right? And so I had to redo it again. So at first, I think that it was my daughter that saw, oh, you know what? Like, I see that there's colors aligned.
I think you're gonna have to put up a picture of this, because even I'm having difficulty understanding what you did with this one.
Oh, well, anyway, so there was color coding on the discs as well, but it was only 3 colors, so it was easy to understand. And then on the cipher itself, like the words, the way that I wrote them were also color coded, so that he knew that for the purple word that he had to solve, yeah, he had to align the purple letters on the discs first, leave it there, and then start figuring out what letter corresponded to what. Oh, I think I did symbols for him, symbol to letter.
I think you said that the purple and the blue ended up looking the same.
Yeah, they look the same. So
extra challenge, eh?
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think once he understood it for the first word, that they were color coding, and like to see the oh yeah, one of the other things was the symbols that I used, because he wasn't rotating the disc. So he was like, well, there's like this kind of like triangle, but this one is upside down and this one is not. So I'll find another one, and I'm like, no, you have to rotate it. So then after that, he was able to solve it by himself, but it was our daughter that kind of got stuck there, and I got stuck too because I couldn't remember.
But eventually they found their way to the living room, right?
Yeah, so they had to go to the living room. My daughter had our daughter, she had a riddle to solve. So after she solved the cipher, she still had to figure out the riddle.
Oh, yes,
she was not getting it. And even like I kept telling her, right, like with what our son's riddle was, and she was still like, no, I don't get it. And she was bringing up some other things that had nothing to do with it. So I had to guide her to figure it out. And then after that, so they picked up their equipment. They were super excited that you put like a bunch of fighting equipment on the couch.
Yeah.
And they were very excited to pick different things. And like they were just like tiny scarves here and there. And then I told them that, like, we have the hoodie blanket thing, the little, what's it called? Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
So I told them that Baby Yoda was the invisibility cloak and that they will need it. So then they put it on. They looked so funny going up the stairs, like trying to look for you. And then they got to the playroom and you had built this like obstacle thing, right? So then you were waiting for them.
Yes, yeah. So this was going to be their epic battle after training and weaponing up. And they had to defeat me to get the next clue. So I had created almost like a bit of a labyrinth. We have these these large magnetic foam pieces that will connect to each other. So I made a big maze in there. And I had epic music playing for when they entered.
Oh yeah, they like that.
And I had put on our I guess it's our Muay Thai gear. Like I had a headgear on, a belly plate, and my boxing gloves. Although even though like I was trying to get them to hit me, they were still pretty soft. I feel like they hit me a lot harder when I'm not wearing anything.
I mean, the funny thing is that like you're all prepared and everything, and then in one of those you lift the mat up, one of the mats, and then you hit our son on the face. It's by the way, we have it in a YouTube short. Yeah. If you want to check it out, because
he went down.
He did go down. I don't think that he moved after that.
No, but then I picked him up like a dead body, and I was roaring at our daughter that I had defeated him.
But he wasn't moving anymore, though.
Yeah, like, but he got back up after. And I took the opportunity. I grabbed him, actually threw him onto the couch too, and then started throwing things at my daughter and telling them that they can hit me.
Our daughter.
Telling them that they could hit me, not to be afraid that they could hit me, and then they finally started hitting me a bit. And that's when they finally defeated me as the monster. And then, I gave them the final clue, and what I had done was with paper towel and paper toilet rolls, essentially just sliding one on top of the others, and then writing a message where the two rolls connected, so that they had to spin them to decode them, because there was writings on the different connection parts, but they didn't line up, so they could only read one at a time. So it took them a couple of seconds, but then my daughter figured it out, and then they were able to read the clues on there and discover that their next step was to go find you for...
Yeah, and I completely forgot what I was supposed to do. So I was sitting there by my desk, and I was like, what was I supposed to do here?
See, the plan. You didn't follow the plan. You didn't pay attention to the plan.
You didn't even send me the plan after, so how would I have known? So anyway, they got there, and I think that I told them... I think that I told them to just go back to the playroom.
No, you gave them their last clues and told them that they needed to go somewhere where they could find an ink or a wash.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't think that I gave them a story or anything. I'm pretty sure that I was just like, oh, I heard that you did good. Okay, here you go. Here's your next note. And that was pretty funny because you tied it with the pipe cleaners, right? And made it into a bow. And then they open it. They're so excited. And then they go like, what? And then they turn it around. What? This is just a white paper. This is blank.
Yeah. Because we had done the fake invisible ink. So we had just used white crayons to make images on there, but they couldn't see anything. So they were like, what? This is blank. Yeah. So we sent them to the basement, to the painting desks. And I had some ink and water there so that they just needed to pour it onto their papers, and then they could see the images.
Yeah, so the last time that we used that technique for the invisible ink, I remember that we used the thicker crayons.
Yeah.
And I think that would work better. With the thin crayon, I think that it was a lot less obvious that there was some writing with white. But also the ink just made it, because it dampened the paper too much, that it was a little bit hard to see some of the images there.
And to be fair, it was actually, I don't know how we did it last time or what we drew last time, but I found it extremely hard to draw because I had no idea what I was drawing. I was trying not to lift my pencil because I figured if I lifted, I wasn't going to be able to continue the drawing. But yeah, because I had drawn a telescope and a guitar for our daughter. And then just like the staircases and the closet door.
So it was meant to give them kind of like a picture of exactly how it looked like, right, where they had to go for the next part of their quest.
Yeah. Leading into the crawl space.
Yeah, so then they open the closet doors and they find the board games.
Yeah.
So
the major payoff.
Yeah. So let's just quickly go through how did we pick those games? Because it took us... Okay, so this is actually another new thing for us this year, because I'm pretty sure that previous years we have just purchased games maybe randomly, or I don't think that you did as much research. Or maybe we have so many games now that you have to go through a lot of options and what to get next.
I can't even remember what we got last year. The only one that sticks out to me the most is a few years ago when our daughter was very much into Wonder Woman, which is why I got the Wonder Woman game for one of them. And I know she really liked that one. Even just from the artwork perspective, it is a very nice looking game. But yeah, usually the criteria that I've used is just, does it look fun? And is it something that they could be interested in?
And that we will be interested in playing too.
But this year we really focused on key criteria, like ensuring that it plays fast and it isn't overly complex. That it plays for people, like as a core mechanic. That it's not really meant for, some games play better with fewer or play better with more. So, and then also just the overall look and design of it, right? Something that's appealing and we know our son likes gemstones, so we got Century because it's got gemstones in it. But yeah.
So we ended up. So okay. So
what are the games we got?
So we got Century.
Yeah.
Mostly because
the Golem edition.
Yeah, because we have played that one with our friends, and I really like the aspect of touching gems. And recently we were playing. What was it? Everdale.
Everdale, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was really fun.
Yeah, and so Everdale, the pieces, touching them. As soon as I saw them, I was like, "Oh, I want to touch it." And my son, our son, was the same, and I was like, "Oh, I think that he actually also enjoys that touching aspect of it, just like I do." So so we got Century because of the touching of the gems. Then we got Animalia.
Nimalia.
Okay. Nimalia, which is very similar to King Domino.
Yeah.
I think that our son mentioned that, right? Or maybe
Yeah.
our daughter. It is a little bit different because the objectives play. It's fun, right? Like every single round, it's a different objective that you're going for.
When we started it, I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be able to understand all this scoring." But then, like, as soon as we got to like the second round, I was like, "Oh, this is easy."
The scoring when we were reading the rules, I was like, I have no idea. I passed you the rules because I was like, this is not for me. I can't decipher this. But yeah, once you get to the scoring, while you have your things done, it's a lot easier than trying to read the rules before even playing it.
Yeah.
I found that, yeah. And then, so that one, they liked it, I think.
I liked that one too.
Yeah.
It surprised me how much I liked that one.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. And then the next one was Dodo's something, right?
Dodo's riding dinosaurs.
Okay, so that one is like very much like Mario Kart style.
And like we watched some reviews and we both kind of understood that game's probably more so for the kids than us.
Yeah.
Which I think they definitely enjoyed it a lot more than we did. I don't think it's a bad game, but like I'd say similar to the reviews. Like I'm not playing that game because I want to play the game.
Yeah.
I'm playing the game because they want to play the game and they're enjoying the game, right? So
it was funny that so lately we have been doing some competitive games between ourselves, right? And for the most part, the two kids have been okay with losing or winning. But then for the Dodo one, because there's so much randomness, our daughter didn't really like losing.
Yeah. I don't think she liked that she was losing and our son was winning. Because at the very end, when I swapped places with her, she suddenly became perfectly fine with losing.
I don't know, but I think that it was because there's so much randomness. I think
there is a lot of randomness in it.
Yeah, I think that maybe she felt a little bit out of control, or
But we also played the very smallest track too.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably a lot more opportunity for gameplay on the longer track.
Yeah, and we only played it the one time, right? Yeah. So I think she wanted to play again actually, but she said she wanted to try a different character because each character is gonna give you different kind of.
Well, she wanted
powers,
to use
right?
my character, the one that gives you a free movement every turn.
Yeah, let's see if that works for her.
Yeah.
And then the last one that we got was...
We got the surprise one, because we weren't planning on that one. A Gentle Rain.
Yeah, A Gentle Rain. I couldn't even remember why we ended up picking that one. And when I was reading the instructions, I was like, ugh, because it's like very zen. It's like, get your music on and, it's like, before you go to bed, play this game to relax. And I was like, oh, this kind of games. Like, I don't do yoga because of that, But no, it's actually very surprisingly calming.
Yes, it is.
I like it that you can play either by yourself or with more people. And I think that when you have kids and sometimes they're in the mood, sometimes they're not, I think it's kind of fun that you can just join in and jump in at any time because it's just about taking turns.
And there's no winning or losing. It's just how many points.
Yeah, how many points did you get?
How much can you score? That's all the point is.
Yeah. And so we ended up, I think the second time that we played it, I ended up actually putting on calming music and they really liked it. And then the next time that we played it again, I put like some of the electronic music that our son likes and he was like, no, this is not the music for this. So I think that he's also finding it a calming experience, right, to play that game.
And they just got the games on Friday, and I think A Gentle Rain we probably already played maybe 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And
this is the popular one.
This morning, our daughter was playing it by herself.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I would probably play it by myself, too.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I liked it. And one of the other things, too, is that there's no, like, with some games, you get, like, these peaks of emotion, right? Where you're, like waiting to see what's going to happen or trying to control the outcome of the game. And I find that in this one, because you're just flipping tiles, there's no control whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
You have the control of where you place your tiles, but it's like so random that it doesn't like there's no real strategy behind it. So you don't have to overthink it of where you're going to place your tile.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what gives it that calming experience.
Yeah. But it's very neat how it creates that sort of, as you said, calm and stable gameplay, but at no point does it feel boring.
Yeah.
It's still engaging you and pulling that fun out of it. It's just not through, high peaks and things like that, right? It's just a nice, calming, consistent experience through it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah. And that was it, right? There were no
so
other games?
that was our treasure hunt. Overall, the kids had fun. I had fun, even though we were up really late. I know in the morning we were tired, but
I was so tired.
yeah, during that evening, I mean, I did have fun working on all those puzzles. And even though it was taking a lot longer than I was hoping, I still had fun putting everything together and getting it ready. Just, as you said, knowing that this was going to be a big event, different from any of the past ones.
You know what it feels like? Like, when you are cooking this very elaborate dish where you spend like 2 hours, 3 hours cooking, and then people eat it in 15 minutes. But
they didn't eat it in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say that unlike other years where we have spent, say, 2 years setting it up and then they finish it in 15 minutes. This
2 years setting it up? You mean 2 hours?
2 hours. 2 hours setting it up and then, they finish it within 15 to half an hour. 15 minutes to half an hour. This time, I felt like they spent almost 2 hours, right?
Yeah, I think it was almost 2 hours in total.
Yeah, so, and 4 hours that we put in, part of that was redoing our mistakes. And that plan that wasn't really necessary to do.
Necessary.
But I think that,
fail
for
to
next
plan
year.
is plan to fail.
No, get out of here. Next year we'll have to do...
Well, we wanted to go outside too, but it ended up being not so great weather. Yeah, so we had to plan everything indoors. But yeah, hopefully maybe next year we can incorporate some outdoor portions of the quest.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I think that's it. We wanted to share sort of the overall experience, hopefully maybe inspire others or give ideas for your own challenges and treasure hunts.
Or if you have done some of them by yourself and want to share your tips with us, let us know, because we do it every year. So we're always looking for new ideas.
Absolutely. And over the Easter or the long weekend here, we also kicked off some terrain building as a family, which we'll be sharing.
Yeah, we've been very busy this Easter weekend.
They're coming out really great too. I'm really impressed.
Yes, make sure you subscribe, because we're going to be releasing in YouTube. Subscribe in YouTube, because we're going to be releasing additional content where we're kind of like sharing some of these, like some of the footage that we have from the treasure hunt and from the terrain that we're building.
Yeah. And the end goal here is to look at several skirmish-based games, decide on one we want to sort of invest in both money and time, and look at building or playing that game as a family.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
That's it for today.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's get going. Bye.
Bye.